And the other thing, I was listening to Sadia Khan yesterday, and she had a quote where she was saying, the concept of like when men and women cheat, there's a significant difference because if women cheat and they have pleasure from the sexual encounter, it's much harder to her to pull away from that. Whereas if a man has sex with a prostitute, he can still love his wife.
Well, I have read a study that suggests that there is no statistical difference in relationship satisfaction between cohorts of men who cheat and cohorts of men who don't.
Again, Dr. Buss came up with that. So
I think I read that
for women. So men, it's the men who cheat and men who don't cheat. They show no statistical difference. For women who cheat, 83% of the time they show less. Or I'm sorry, 79% of the time they show less satisfaction in the marriage when they cheat as opposed to not cheating. And 83% of the time women fall in love with their affair partners. For men, it's like 29% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting how the reaction to cheating differs based on gender. Like when a guy gets caught, what's the first thing he says?
He goes, I don't love her.
It didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. Why? Because
it's true.
It is true. But think about what's more important to women. Like sexual fidelity is important to women, but on some level, emotional fidelity might be even more. Some women are like, okay, I don't like it, but boys will be boys. And if it didn't mean anything and you still love me and you're still committed to me, then I don't like it, but maybe I'll turn a blind eye. So that's why the guy's reassuring, you're my one and only, you're my baby.
There was actually a study on that too, where they evaluate infidelity and they evaluate what are the first questions each gender asks. And the woman will always ask the first questions usually, do you love her? And the man, when a woman cheats, the first question is, did you have sex with him?
Yeah. And by the way, for homosexual men, the first question is, did you fuck him? And for lesbian women, the first question is, do you love her? It actually transitions. It goes past whatever your sexual preferences. It's just men being men are more interested in, the way I like to say it is, for women, the cheating is the giving away of resources or emotional attention. And for men, cheating is penetration.
Let me go one step further. So we have this hypothetical situation where the man cheats and he gets caught.
Yeah.
Let's flip the roles. Let's say a woman steps out and she gets caught by her husband. If the first thing she says is, it didn't mean anything. It was just sex. She's just made the problem 10 times worse.
100%.
10 times worse. Because as hard as that might be, if the woman instead had come to her husband and be like, we need to sit down. We need to have a hard conversation. I've met somebody. It's been really hard. We've fallen in love. And we want to start a family together. Like that will be hard for that man to hear, but it's almost like, okay, I mean, she did it for a good enough reason on some level.
Sure.
Yeah. But if it meant nothing, it's like you destroyed all of the trust that I have in you for this.
Yeah. I had to put in this much work to get access to you, and this guy put in no work and got the same access.
He's going to feel like a schmuck.
Exactly right. That's what a lot of I have some female friends of mine, Jessica, or they've come on the show and they're porn stars, and they'll talk about being in relationships and then filming with other men, and they come home and they're like, honey, it doesn't mean anything. I didn't even enjoy it. It wasn't that big deal. And I look at her and I'm like, the other guy enjoyed it. He fucking enjoyed it, and he did nothing to earn it. Like that's the whole problem.
Got paid to do it.
He got paid to do it, and I promise you, he enjoyed it. He doesn't feel bad about it at all. But yeah, that is a significant difference.
Did you see this Instagram post? I just saw it this morning, but it's about this Dubai princess.
No, what happened?
I think she's actually royalty. I don't know if she's descended from the royalty or she married into royalty, but it caused quite a stir because she divorced her husband via Instagram post. Like it's this white text on a black background. It's very simple. And it's basically like, dear husband, since you enjoy the company of others so much, I'm divorcing you. I divorce you. I divorce you. I divorce you. Your wife, your ex-wife. And I of course don't know the situation, but reading the comments is just a gold mine for social observation.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. And
what were they saying?
On the whole, everyone was very supportive of her decision to do it. You know, know your worth. Don't put up with anything that demeans you. Absolutely. This guy didn't know what he's missing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I bring this up for a couple of reasons. Again, I don't know the basis of that relationship at all. But I do know that she was Arab royalty. And for what I know about the Arab men that I've consulted with, it's fairly common for these men to have multiple women.
Sure.
And that's usually discussed
beforehand,
pretty early in the relationship process.
Yeah. You saw the Jason Derulo thing. So Jason Derulo
No.
told his wife, I'm going to be seeing multiple people, got married.
Bill Gates did that. It was in his prenup.
Who did
Really?
Bill Gates.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it came out after the divorce, and she tried to kind of shame him.
Yeah.
In his prenup was, I think he was allowed to take a vacation with his ex-girlfriend for 1 week, once a year.
Wow.
And he did that, I think, for several years. And this is something that she explicitly consented to. And she certainly didn't feel like it was demeaning when she was signing the marriage papers.
I think, and then this goes back to a function of status, like considering who was complaining when Derek Jeter was sleeping with Jessica Biel, Jessica Alba, and Mariah Carey. No one cared. Because Derek Jeter was a shortstop for the Yankees and no one had an issue with it. Whereas
A-Rod kind of got in some trouble too, which is interesting. Like, why did Derek get to stay so squeaky clean?
Was A-Rod married? Was that what the issue was? Because
I don't think he was at the time. No.
Well, I know the situation with Tiger, the problem was like Tiger Woods was cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people had an issue with it. But it does feel like, I've heard women say this before. It's like, you aren't high status enough or rich enough or famous enough to be dating multiple women like this. So what's that saying is there is a price. There is a point at which men are high status enough. If you were to say, hey, do you think it's strange that George Clooney was philandering around like in his 20s? They'd be like, no, he's George Clooney. There's a point at which they're famous enough or high status enough to where nobody's like Dan Bilzerian or Hugh Hefner or someone like that to that point. But then she'll come back to you and be like, but you're not that guy. You don't get to do that. You don't get to have that. Are you struggling with approach anxiety and want an easier way to meet women? Click the link in the description and I'll send you an exclusive invite to my elite networking community where you can learn to meet high quality women today.